And you know, us sports moms have something to say.
Yes, we do.
We'll have a chance to interview across the board, from athletes to the parents to the coaches to even the trainers.
Yeah. And we're not afraid to share our journey. We're not afraid to tell other moms what we went through in order to raise up a student athlete. So I believe that it's inspirational.
Yeah. We able to tell our story, the good and the bad.
Yeah. We can give back positive information.
Absolutely.
You know, we can empower them.
Yeah, I think it's time for the mothers to be a voice.
Yeah, that's it.
It's time for us to let you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Karen. Welcome to Can We Talk Sports, and I have my host,
Arisha, aka Icy Fashion.
What's up, girl? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just trying to get in the routine of all the newness that's going on around here, the new normal.
I know it. I just found out that I gained 20 COVID-19 pounds. Is that the new normal or what?
I think all of us have, though. Like, I've been working out like crazy and I've gotten in some good shape, but I'm still not down the pounds that I normally would have been. So, yeah. So it's just, but I have changed the way I've been eating again.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've been looking for, I posted and I have a friend, she has a detox tea and I'm like, send me that detox. Can I just cleanse?
Yeah.
All
let's get a boost and get it out of there.
Right.
Help me. Out of there.
Somebody help me.
Right.
So how is Jordan in football? What's going on in Kansas?
Jordan's doing well. They have a home game Saturday. I was going to go, but due to unforeseen circumstances, I will not be going for the betterment of whatever the situation may be. So I think that it's best that, I'm going to stay so that I'll end up going to support his other school, though, DeSoto U.
Oh, I see.
The good thing about this, though, is like not making it to his game. I can at least watch it on ESPN or something like that now. So that's the benefit of playing in NCAA or any kind of football, basketball, whatever. I at least can go on TV and I can really rewatch it probably on YouTube if for some reason I missed it. But they play, I believe, at 2:30 this week.
Oh.
And then they play OSU. They'll play against one of his old teammates, Jabbar Muhammad.
No, that is DeSoto against DeSoto.
That's exactly it.
We got two players at OSU.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Brown is there.
Right.
That's what I always post. I'm like DeSoto versus DeSoto. We're all over Saturday football.
Right. It's getting better. He's getting progress every week. First week he didn't get in. It's the first field. He's the freshman walking on, and last week he got in twice.
Really? As a walk-on, he got in.
I didn't even realize he got in the second time. I saw him the first time. He Jerry Judy'd somebody on the line. He did him in a little bit. The ball didn't come to him though, but he was in there. He was in there.
That's right.
To me, that's
get in there.
Get in there. Yeah, like Book them say, yeah, in the stands.
Yeah.
With this cheer, we make these crazy chants up on the 50-yard line at these Friday night football games.
Yeah. There's some good times. I'm gonna miss not being able to be there tomorrow, but next week I will be there in the house. It's
Where
nothing
are you
like
going tomorrow?
Well, I'm going back to Tulsa to do some more filming on Black Wall Street, Greenwood Avenue projects. I'm going down there to do some more filming. I'm hoping to get Mr. Pastor Michael Todd. I got Carlton Pearson to interview, but I'm hoping to get Michael Todd and want to get the mayor and the chief of police and everybody that has a perspective about their community and as far as getting it back on his feet and then living again. So
That's good.
So I'm leaving early in the morning and driving down.
You going by yourself? Oh, well, the film person too, huh?
Well, the film people are there,
Already
so I am
there. Okay.
by myself. So I might be calling you so you can keep me awake on the phone.
Oh, okay. To update for the game.
Yeah,
because I'm the female version of Mike Ducey.
That's right.
I didn't know after the scrimmage the other day. My friend said that some of the boys were like, "Did Miss Icy get any of my video?" So now I didn't know they depend on me to get the video. I was like, I did get some video, so I sent to a few people. I said, "But I'm gonna do better." So now I got a job. I gotta be there. They depended on me.
Right. To do their video and posting their stories.
I done got some years of experience in that area now.
Yes. So you have to talk to the coach. They might have to bring you on as staff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come on. Yeah, I need the raw footage, not the huddle. We need the raw at the moment with the fans in the backgrounds footage. When the camera going all over the place like that.
Yes. So I'm excited about the show tonight. We have 28 years of experience that's coming on the show tonight. I mean, that's some rich wisdom and knowledge. So I'm excited. So let's welcome to the show, Coach Walsh. I might be saying his name.
Go, bring it in, tuck them in, let's go, move, let's go, hustle up. I was at Rhode Island College and fell in love with sort of the state school model. Maine just seemed like a great fit. Great school, great athletic culture, great leadership. I was really comfortable from, the first conversation, so it worked out great. We'll talk you through it and make sure we're getting better with that, and then we're gonna stretch. Let's have a great day now. Together, 1, 2, 3. When I first met our guys, they were hungry. They were really hungry, they were really together, and that's a great foundation to start with. Our guys really were into something new, and that was really exciting.
A lot of my AAU friends or coaches and stuff like that told me about Coach Bob Walsh, and what he was telling me really seemed genuine and honest, and I really want to be a part of what he wants to do here.
Beat it. Come on, Aaron, too easy, Aaron.
He's very honest and very tough.
Start that again. Come on, Aaron, I know you can beat that screen better than that. Let's go, it's way too easy.
You don't want to, beat around the bush and tell players stuff they want to hear rather than what they need to hear, So the way he is about communicating with us is the way to go about things.
Good, attack, sprint, get there.
A lot of the stuff around you at this level is different, but when you blow the whistle and practice starts and the kids are looking at you, I think it's the same thing. You're developing trust, you're developing relationships, and you're trying to build a culture.
Good. It's been hard, and throughout all of it, the results haven't been there yet. We've stayed together, right? And I'm really proud of that, right? And that says a lot more about who we are than our record ever will. Rely on the toughness that we've shown to stay together, right, and go out there and be the tougher team, all right? Believe in it. Trust what we've done. Trust who we are. All right, I believe in you guys. All right, it's time to win. Let's go. Let's go. Good. Good, Garrett. Good. Good job. Good job. Come on, Till, work. Dig it out. If we let them catch it in the post 4 feet from the hoop and turn and score, we can't win, right? We're tougher than that. Good pass. Good job, Kev. Good job. Get on it. Relax. 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 Yeah. Some of those days where we've struggled, we've lost a few games in a row, we're not playing well, it seems like, we're not progressing the way we want, and you show up every day and these guys are ready to go. They're excited, they're together, they're sort of the glue that keeps this whole thing going, and we show up every day ready to get better, and that's all you can ask for. Good job, good job, good job. The playoffs at the end are really important to our guys. That's what you're working for, especially when you're struggling to win as many games as you want. We want to put ourselves in a position every year at the University of Maine where we're playing our best basketball when the playoffs roll around, and hopefully we'll be doing that this year. It's been tremendous fun every day. I mean, it's a thrill. We've got a great group of guys to coach. We've got to establish a whole new mentality, and that's what we're doing every day. So we're excited about what we've done. The results aren't where we want them to be, but we're focused on the process, what we do every day, who we are as a team, and the culture that we're trying to establish.
to the show, Coach.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Hi, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
We're doing good. Gaining COVID-19 pounds, but
That's a
other
struggle
than
for
that,
everybody.
I'm doing good. Man, I'm like, I need to get out and walk. I need to do some kind of movement or something.
Right. You have to find a routine or something. I managed to force myself to go a couple of days a week, get in a routine.
Yes. So, Coach, hey, start us out by tell me correctly if I pronounce your name right, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, it's Walsh. I think you got it right. There's a little bit of maybe a Southern twang to the way you say it, but I kind of like that. So, yeah, I grew up in New York. I grew up. Both my parents are from the Bronx. I was always an athlete growing up. So, I was playing sports. I have an older brother who's a year and a half older than I am. We played, every sport imaginable, like a lot of kids growing up, and I was very, very fortunate, and I recognize it as I've gotten older. I've, lived a life of privilege growing up. I mean, I had opportunities because of my parents and what they provided and how hard they worked. And, they both worked to put themselves through school, and provided a life for me and my brother where really, we didn't want for anything. I mean, we were able to make choices as we got older based on what we wanted to do. Not necessarily what we had to do. And I always wanted to be involved in athletics. I just never liked the idea. My father, my mother, my brother are all business school grads who are certified public accountants and doing the New York City commute, working in an office thing. And I never really wanted to do that. I always wanted to be in an athletic arena somehow and be involved with sports. And trust me, I'd still be playing basketball or baseball or soccer or football if I was good enough to do it. But I realized, I wasn't probably going to get paid to play, and coaching kind of felt natural to me. I was always sort of a leader on my teams and the guy that was sort of getting guys organized and trying to keep guys motivated. And, I naturally stepped into coaching. I graduated high school, 30 years ago now, actually, in New York City. I went to high school in New York City and attended a Division III school in upstate New York, Hamilton College. Played a couple of years there basketball-wise, started my coaching career there, and been very fortunate to have been coaching at some level on a basketball bench ever since.
Wow. And listen to the video. I felt this nurturing type of voice, and you was almost like a motivator, versus a coach saying, you didn't run the play. What you were like, let it go. I just felt this nurturing thing. So I think that might be how you ended up here.
Well, I appreciate that. It's I became a head coach in 2005. I was the head coach at a Division III school in Rhode Island College. And I learned quickly after becoming a head coach that so much of success of our team and our players as individuals was based on, getting the most out of them. It wasn't what I knew, right? It wasn't the set plays that we ran or the right defensive call here or the right substitutions. It was really, trying to get the most out of them mentally and making sure they were ready to compete at a high level today. And to do that, you have to develop trust. And trust doesn't come from, me showing you a play that's going to work, that's going to get you 2 points. I mean, players like that, of course, but trust comes from being honest and being direct and showing creating safety, I think, and showing some vulnerability myself. So, the way I communicate to my players is based on a relationship of trust. And I think, a lot of people mistake coaching as yelling and screaming, and I feel like if I have to yell and scream as a coach, something's gone wrong, right? We're not doing something right. If I thought screaming and cursing was the best way to get the most out of my players, then I would scream and curse. I just don't think there are too many areas where that is the best way to get the most out of players. So I want my guys to know that I care about them. It's got to be about more than basketball. I mean, I love basketball as much as anybody, but I never want to define myself by the score on the scoreboard or whether, we made a hoop on this possession or we didn't. It's really the relationships that I value and that I think allow us, to get the most out of each other.
That's really good. I don't know if we hear a lot of coaches, they may say it, but actually doing that. And so for you to have the ability to see a player and bring out the best in them, that's a pretty unique skill. That's like a teacher, you have students but to be able to pull out what's the best in that player. I mean, that's a unique ability. Not everybody can do that.
But yeah, that's what we're all trying to do. I think, it is education, certainly coaching. The good news is my guys are dying to come to class. I'm not sure kids are always dying to go to biology class or go to history class. So, teachers probably have a tougher job than I do, but, that's absolutely it. I think as leaders, we have to think about how we can get the most out of our players and our team. And that's different for each individual. You really got to get to know them on a personal level. And something I really learned as an assistant coach first, but it's different when you become the head coach and you're the one making the decisions. You've got to connect. You've really got to make sure they know you care, they can trust you, and that it's a two-way street. They can communicate with you, and that's it. I think the hard part, and one of the reasons why maybe some coaches, say it but don't necessarily do it is, right, we have a scoreboard that's in public every day, right? And at the highest level, certainly at college levels and the pros, if that scoreboard says the wrong thing, eventually you're getting fired, no matter how much trust you have or how much your players like you or your relationship is good. So it's very, very easy to get caught up in what I think is the wrong thing, which is worrying too much about winning and losing. And then I think your players realize they kind of see right through it, right? You're not fooling your players. So if you're just going through the motions with as far as your relationship with your players, just to try and get the end result, they're going to see that. And I don't think you're going to get the most out of them.
Well, I know, one thing as parents, something that we don't realize as far as coaches, that this is your job. And it is unfortunate that most schools depend on you winning as far as keeping your job. So I imagine that's pretty hard to kind of balance, this relationship and trust with players at the same time with, I got to win to keep a job.
Right.
It's a great point, and it is a tough balance, but I would say it shouldn't be, or it shouldn't be as tough, because I 100% believe, and I have learned that it's those relationships and it's that trust and it's the connection you make with your players that lead to the right results, and I've had 2 jobs as a head coach, one at Rhode Island College where we had a ton of success and they'd never had success before. And we won 80% of our games and, went to the NCAA tournament 8 years in a row. And then at the Division I level, I was the head coach at Maine and we didn't have good results. And the team, the program was in a terrible spot. And we for 4 years, we were trying to change the culture and establish the relationships and, connect to get the most out of our guys. And as a coach, you have to realize, some of the best coaching I did was when I was at Maine and we didn't have the results on the scoreboard, but we were getting the most out of each other, figuring that out as a coach is very, very difficult, because there are some games where, you're losing and your kids are giving it everything they've got and they're playing well and you're just getting beat because the other guys are trying to win too. But ultimately it's the relationships and the connection and the trust with your players that get them to perform at their best. And that's how you're going to get results. Now, there are other factors that come into play, and it may, that may affect whether you win or lose. But I don't think you're going to have a lot of success on the scoreboard long term if you're not invested in the right things.
All right, Arisha, what you got?
So, and I hope I don't backdoor and ask a question that y'all already asked when I had to unexpectedly step away. So, as far as when you guys are recruiting, what method do you guys have? Like different coaches that are in different regions and stuff like that? Like like in football, there are certain coaches assigned to a certain region, or the East Coast, the West Coast, or whatever. How do you guys go by recruiting in the area of Maine like that?
I would say in basketball, it's not as regionally defined as it might be in football. Football, you've got to recruit more players, and you've got more coaches to do that. Mm-hmm. So, we generally, our staffs have, 4 guys who go on the road, and you generally recruit what you know. So, I'm from New York. I've been on the East Coast pretty much my whole career, my whole life. So, when I was at Rhode Island College, recruited a lot, New York, Connecticut, that region. When I was at Maine, and now I'm at Providence College back in Rhode Island, you have the ability, like at Providence College, we can recruit nationally, we can recruit internationally. So it's not like we have to focus on a certain region, but there are certain types of kids that are attracted to us, attracted to what's unique about Providence College, attracted to the head coach right now that I currently work for. So you tend to find those qualities out, and you go from there. So we don't have to divide it up regionally, but we do tend to recruit what we know and the relationships that we know best and what's worked for us in the past.
Now you, my son came to a prep school in Connecticut. So back east, there are a lot of prep schools. It's like the thing to do.
Yeah,
it's post grad. You can get another year of high school through a prep school if your grades are not good. So, can you kind of comment on that?
Certainly. What prep school did he go to?
He went to Hyde.
Oh yeah, terrific. Okay, so New England has a ton of prep schools. You're right. So this area has prep schools at all different levels. Academically, some of the elite academic institutions at that level in the country, as well as some others that are more just honestly factories, that are just athletic factories. The prep school question is always an interesting one. There are 3 factors for me. One is, can it help make you a better student? Is it going to help you get into a better school academically? There's value in that. Number 2, will it help make you a better player? Will it help you maybe get to a higher level as a player, or at least improve and mature as a player, as a student? There's a lot of value in that. And then number 3 is you add that up. Is it worth the money? Is it worth what you have to pay? And that's the challenge. That's the hard part. As a Division III coach, we recruited a lot of kids who were borderline scholarship players, Division I, Division II, but didn't have any offers and wanted to go to prep school because they sort of wanted to keep that dream alive. And a lot of them, if they were getting honest feedback, they would have been told, look, you're probably going to go to a Division III school anyway, right? That's probably the level that you're at. So, to spend sometimes $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a year of prep, you really have to know what you're getting into. You really have to make sure it's the right situation for you academically and athletically. And then, there's no guarantee, right? I think most prep school coaches joke like, okay, kid comes to me and they think I'm automatically going to get them a Division I scholarship. That's certainly not the case. I think in that recruiting process, families, parents, athletes, high school coaches, you really, really have to figure out who you can trust, who has your best interest in mind. You know, a lot of times you'll connect with a coach at a prep school or a college coach who's recruiting you, who you develop great trust with, and you feel like they do have your best interest in mind, and that's great. But they also have a job to do, right? And that job is you know, usually to convince people to come to their school. So figure out who you can really trust, who has your best interest in mind, and block out the rest of the noise. Prep school can be an incredible opportunity, can be terrific. It can change your life. Absolutely. But there are also some situations that aren't very good, that don't work out, where the money just doesn't make sense, and you're better off going to college.
Yeah. And, you know, we had a guest on the show, and one thing that he brought out that's starting to be real big right now is parents holding their kids back a grade level in order to get an edge on recruiting. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's happening a lot these days because, you know, people have figured out you can do it. And, you know, parents say, well, my son, he's just 17 and he's, you know, I think you should want your kids to have the best high school experience possible, and college will take care of itself. The idea of, you know, holding a kid, like, you know, the kids I went to high school with for 4 years are the best friends in my life today. You know, to have stayed back a year and, you know, let them sort of go on to college before I did, it would have changed my high school experience. So I'm not really a big fan of it. I just think if you have the ability to play at the college level and you have the ability to contribute, whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, wherever it is, for the most part, we are going to find you and you're going to get to the right situation. There's obviously a ton of stories, you know, individual stories about people who, you know, were hidden gems or late bloomers, but you know, I just don't think it's advantageous to hold your son or daughter back to try and get them a year older. You know, certainly if you want to go to prep school or they need to take a year off, whether it's to work or mature, make some money to pay for college, I get it. But ultimately, I think you want them to have the best academic and athletic experience possible. And I think that's with, you know, their original class.
You know, it for me, it was just unfortunate that in different states, the age was different in going to school, where my kids were born in California, and in California, the cutoff date was later on, like in December.
Right.
And so in Texas, it might be September or something like that. So my son, born in California, he was on this, you know, this grade level track. And when we came to Texas, he was really too young. He graduated 17 and he didn't turn 18 until November of his high school year. So he was like 16 and a senior. And so we really could have held him back because his immaturity level was still not there. But because the way California did and the way Texas did, it was different. You know, he was on the right path. And so, but there are parents that are actually just doing it, you know, based on sports in order for their kids to get an edge in recruiting. So it's like they're doing whatever it takes to get their kid a scholarship.
Yeah, it's pretty cutthroat out there these days. Obviously, a scholarship is extremely valuable. I understand that. I don't think, you know, making significant decisions based on, you know, your son or daughter's ability to play a college sport for an extra year or maybe at a little higher level or whatever it is going to end up bearing a lot of fruit when it's all said and done. You know, it certainly can make a difference. And look, you mentioned maturity, right? I mean, you know, you may have a 16 or 17-year-old who is the right age with his class, but could certainly benefit from a year to mature before going away to college, whether it's working at home or taking, a couple of classes locally and establishing themselves academically. So there's not an easy answer to it. I would say there's probably too many people making that decision based on athletics, which, the ball's going to stop bouncing pretty soon one way or another, So if your son or daughter is lucky enough to have a chance at a professional career, the odds aren't great that they're going to be able to make a living doing it for very long. So, there's a lot of decisions about college made based on athletics that long-term really should be made based on academics and fit. And that's where I would send, most people to focus on that, to get the best experience. That's where I think the kids are going to be the happiest.
That's good. What you got, Arisha?
So, again, hopefully y'all don't ask the same question. So as far, I'm going to ask two questions in one. Let me know if you've already answered one. As far as how everything is set up with, like how in the NBA and all that, they're playing in that bubble and stuff. Is this the same situation that's going to be happening with you guys? And then how has the practice or off season COVID affected your off season and all of that?
Well, it's had a huge effect. So, college basketball was shut down, completely, in March, before the NCAA tournament even started. And, at most places, and I know for us at Providence, our kids went home on March 15th and they didn't come back until September. So they weren't working out together. They were taking classes online. There weren't any summer workouts. And most people, around the world, certainly in our country, were, it wasn't like you were going down to the park and playing pickup with 10 of your buddies either. Right. I mean, everybody was staying inside. So it did have a significant impact. Now that we are back in school, it's different everywhere because in some areas there are hot spots where the virus is really raging. In other areas, it's been diffused well enough to maybe allow some more activities. So far, we're just doing individual development with 4 guys in the gym. So we haven't even gotten back to 5-on-5 yet. What the NBA did, created a bubble that cost them about $150 million. Oh,
wow.
So they did a great job with it. I don't think you can do something. You might be able to do something like that in college athletics, say for the NCAA tournament, for 3 weeks or so. I mean, also you look at the Heat and the Lakers, who are the only 2 teams left. I mean, they're looking at 90 days right now in that bubble, which is, I mean, we all think, oh, it's Disney World. That would be pretty cool. But that's 3 months. And for the first, month and a half, they weren't, their families weren't there either. So to do that with college kids is hard. You may see some of that for a week or two, maybe over break, where teams get together in certain areas for tournaments, and you can, the one thing is we play for about 6 weeks over break where most of the other students aren't on campus, so it gives us an opportunity to create something close to a bubble on our own campuses where our kids won't have to interact with too many people, but it's had a significant impact. The impact isn't going away. Right now, no one can really tell you, hey, this is what college basketball is going to look like come November. Just like, college football, you're having games canceled each week. The NFL just had a game canceled. So we're trying to manage it as best we can with the health and safety of our kids in mind. But it's a day-to-day thing, no doubt.
Right.
So, one thing that we've been asking some of our guests is what would you do if there was no sports?
What would I do personally if there was no sports? I would probably be a writer, some sort of communications, maybe radio. I have a passion for writing, and I also have a leadership development business. So that kind of came from coaching and sort of understanding the leadership side of things and how important it was. So something with writing or possibly leadership is more than likely what I'd be doing if there were no sports. I wouldn't be as happy, though, I'll tell you that.
Right. Most of the coaches, they were like, I don't know how to answer that question.
Exactly.
We get to wear our pajamas to work every day and show up in the gym.
Exactly.
You know, like we've got it pretty good. So
yes. So you were saying something about honest feedback. I know as parents, we all think that our kid is the best player. And so how do you evaluate, your players and give that feedback to the honest feedback to parents as far as where their child really should be versus D1, D2, junior college? How do you deal with that with parents as far as feedback?
Yeah, that's a great question and a challenging topic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, the relationship with the players. The way I handle it is through the players, right? I developed that relationship with the players where they know we're going to speak openly and honestly all the time. We might not always agree, but I've got to develop the trust to the point where they think, I have their best interest in mind. And I always ask my players two questions when we're talking about, their development. I say, number one, do you trust me? Hopefully the answer is yes. Number two, do you want to be great? And hopefully the answer to that is yes. And I say, okay, if those two things are true, right? If you trust me and you want to be great, here's what I think you need to do. Mm-hmm. And then, to be honest with me, the majority of the conversations with the parents about athletic ability and basketball and ability to play in college come through the player, right? I never want to say anything to a parent that I haven't already discussed with the player. So I'll bring the parents on board. Obviously, if they want to call and say, hey, how's he doing with this? How's he doing academically? Great. If they say, well, why isn't he playing more? My general answer is ask your son, right? I've had
Mm-hmm.
conversations with your son about this. He knows exactly where I stand. We may disagree. And then as far as the ability, once you've established the credibility and the trust, the recruiting process as far as level, it really takes care of itself, right? If you think you're a Division I player and no Division I schools are coming to watch you play, calling your coach or calling you, then the process is telling you you're not a Division I player, right? Mm-hmm. So I may sit there and say, hey, I think you are this certain level player, but, when I was at Maine, look, I think you can play in the Big East, but I'm not the one making that decision. I don't work in the Big East. I'm at Maine, which is a lower level. I think you can play at Maine, and that's why I'm offering you a scholarship. So it is challenging. You have to understand that every parent, loves their kid more than anything and wants the best for them. It's also very competitive. So I think in a lot of ways it does get emotional. And I would say the last thing I try and do is take the emotion out of it. Let's talk about the facts about your son and what is best for him. And if you tell me, coach, I'm telling you he can play at this level, I say, look, I will fully support that. I'm not going to stand in his way. I'll do everything I can to help him, as long as you understand that I may think differently about it, and I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again, but it goes back to the trust and the relationship with the player. I've had more conversations with parents in front of players where the player said, oh, come on, mom, stop it. Like he's, coach has already told me that. So, and you have to be willing to communicate honestly and openly. I've never had a player or parent say, you know what, coach, I'm pissed off at you because you told me the truth too much. I've never had anybody say that. Right. And I get a lot of, well, you know what, coach, I appreciate you being honest with me, and that's, it seems like it's hard to do, harder than it should be, because again, there's a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of pressure involved at the highest level. I understand it. So I'm not dismissing it as simple. but honest, direct truth telling, I think, is really important. I've learned over the years how to probably do it in a less direct way so that it's easier to be received. And I think that's really important for coaches, because, if you say, hey, I think my son's a Division I player, and the first thing I do is laugh, that's not going to,
Right.
that's not going to make you feel comfortable, even though I may say, well, okay, he's got a chance to be a Division I player, but right now he's being recruited by these schools. So I think that the trust and the direct honesty is really important.
Okay, Coach, what's the nicest thing you ever said to a referee?
Well, you know what? I got an interesting story, which it's the nicest thing I ever did for a referee. And to be truthful, just to say this off the bat, I am about as pro referee as any coach you'll ever talk to. Like, I honestly think referees, college basketball officials do a great job. It's a hard game to officiate. I've never spent a lot of time, worrying about them. I have good relationships with them. I had an official who I knew pretty well, actually. So I went from Rhode Island to Maine, and this official happened to be from Rhode Island and used to work our team camps when I was an assistant back here. And he was doing one of our games at Maine, and we were struggling. We lost. We had a 3-point lead with 12 seconds to go. They got a rebound. We lost the game we shouldn't have lost. And they missed a clear violation. Like, after the tape, they missed a clear violation that cost us a possession where they hit the three and sent it to overtime. And so I had a relationship with this official, and I sent them the video and just said, hey, can you tell me? Because I wasn't really sure. And he basically called me back and said, I'm sick. He said, that was my call. That was on me. Like, it should have been a violation. It should have been your ball.
Dang.
Instead of them hitting the three, we take the ball out of bounds, up 3, and we win the game. And he had, I said, I won't use his name.
Who paid you? Who paid you?
No, I said to him, you know what? He used to do some of my big games when I was at Rhode Island College. He's a terrific official. I really believe it. He made a mistake. He admitted it. And I said, I will take you on any big game I ever coach happily at any point. So
you owe me.
Don't worry about it. No. And it was funny. So he was progressing, and the director of officials asked us our opinion, and he had gotten assigned a conference tournament game that year, which was a big step for him. And he asked me, he said, are you going to call the director on this? And I said, I've never done that in my life. I've never called the director of officials about an official in a game. It's not worth my energy. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'd take you on my playoff game any day. So that's probably the nicest thing I've said or done for an official.
That was overboard, like you did.
Yeah, I've just, man, I don't have enough energy to spend on officials all that much during games. Right. Like, I'll let the parents handle that. I'll let the crowd handle that. Like,
let them do the dirty work.
It is important to have a decent relationship with them, certainly, because having a connection with them and being able to talk to them. But I wish I had enough sort of brain power to worry about my team and myself and coaching and the officials at the same time. But I'm a better coach when I'm leaving them alone.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. I wasn't expecting that answer. I thought you was going to tell us that, I've got in one of them's face a couple of times. This one official just comes and he seemed like he's just after our team. But you know what? We need to get a trophy or award that I don't think another coach would have told us that they.
One thing I've learned, they don't care who wins. They really don't care who wins. And at our level, like Division I high level college officials, you know how much money they make?
No.
Like, you know how much like the Maryland, the Maryland-Michigan State basketball game that takes place in College Park, you know how much those officials are getting paid?
Nuh-uh.
Like they're getting paid, just say, over $3,000 a game each.
Oh, wow.
Right? So think about that. And I'm not saying that to say it's wrong or whatever. There's a ton of money in college athletics, but if they're doing, 75 to 100 games a year, and some of them are making, I mean, that's on the low end, right? The higher, the better, more experienced. So the last thing they want to do is get into a tussle with a coach who can then get them, say, no, I don't want him doing my games, or I don't want doing this and that. Now, it may not seem that way, certainly for your team. It seems like, we all have those guys but I have learned that they don't care who wins or loses. They just want to get it right. And they hate getting it wrong, and they get it wrong just like I do. But you know what? They don't get to turn and yell at me when I make a bad sub,
right.
So,
right.
But
yeah. My brother referees, so he's so serious about it. I didn't realize how serious refs really get into it and stuff. Like he started out in the basketball area.
Oh yeah.
Now he does a little bit of volleyball and baseball. He said he don't want to touch football though, which is shocking because he was a quarterback. Yeah.
Really?
And he was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and it's challenging. Like you watch the NBA and how good those athletes are and how fast they move and how small the court is. And we complain about the officials. And I'm like, I mean, it is hard to do. It is certainly hard. So, yeah, I just don't have that much energy I got enough to worry about. Hopefully those three guys I don't have to worry about.
Right. So you're in Maine and Rhode Island. Is it cold up there right now?
Not yet. I'm in Newport, Rhode Island right now, and it's actually we're still hanging on to summer just a little bit. So, it was in the 70s today. It'll get us though. It'll get us a couple of weeks. It'll start to turn. But the fall in this area is actually beautiful. Yeah, September and October in New England is beautiful. You're probably not going to the beach. You're probably wearing a pullover when you're going for a walk, but it's a great time to visit.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
My nephew's supposed to come play basketball at a school in Maine. I don't know if it's your school, but I don't know if he made it up there already, but
is he in college or is he in prep school or
college?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His name is Sebastian Martinez Young. But I need to ask him which school because he came up there with some late registration and stuff, and he was really good in basketball. So I need to ask him which school it was that he's going to down there. I was like, wow, you going way up there? He was like, yeah, but I need to. It's going to be good for me. I was like, okay.
It is up there.
Yeah.
It is up there.
So tell us what else you got going on and how people can connect with you.
Yeah, well, I've got a website that I actually started when I was a Division III coach. It was sort of a way to stay connected and keep my mind moving in the off season and studying leadership. I started a leadership academy in Rhode Island, which is kind of on pause right now, like everything else. But teaching leadership, it's called the Dynamic Leadership Academy. So people can get in touch with me at CoachBobWalsh.com. And at Coach Bob Walsh on Twitter. I also host a podcast similar to the show that you're doing, but it's just a 30-minute podcast called the Dynamic Leadership Podcast, which you can find on iTunes and at athleticdirectoru.com. So, yeah, I love feedback. I get emails and posts and stuff from coaches all over the world all the time about some of the stuff that we do. So I'm a big share of information and really, really appreciate what you guys are doing too. This is pretty cool what you got going on here.
Oh, awesome. That's good to hear.
Thank you. You don't hear parents' voices that much. You hear it at Hall of Fame games when you say, my mama worked 2 jobs and so it's just, this year is the year of the mouth. It's just time to hear the voices of parents and as far as what they went through to raise up an athlete in order to help other parents. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you coming on the show. And if you guys reach out to Coach, if you need to be any type of leadership. So the leadership is not just in coaching, it's in all areas.
Yeah, it's dynamic leadership. So I realized how much of coaching was actually, 75% of it is leadership. It's being able to command a room and deliver a consistent message and develop relationships and a lot of stuff that we talked about. So, I've done some corporate leadership training and some speaking engagements and stuff like that. And really it's just, it's a simple definition of leadership. It's make the people around you better. I think one of the mistakes that we make as coaches is, we treat leadership as a rank. And I think leadership is a skill. Like I can pretty much tell you who the captains are of any team anywhere. It's the older players, it's the better players, it's the louder players, the ones who are willing to speak up. I'm not sure that necessarily makes them the best leaders. So it's been good. And I've done a lot of Zoom work with a bunch of teams now that Zoom has become the thing, and some different groups. So it's something I hope to expand on in the future.
Well, awesome. So do you know if you're going to have a basketball season yet?
The plan is right now to do so. We're supposed to start November 25th, college basketball. That's the date it's going to start. So, practice will start, official team practice October 14th. But we're day to day, week to week, like everywhere else, just trying to get through it and make sure people, stay safe and that we can do it safely. And I think we can do it safely. So hopefully by late November, we'll be playing basketball.
All right. Well, we wish you the best basketball season, and everybody is healthy and everybody gets back to normal, and that you have a great season. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks so much, ladies. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I appreciate what you do. So keep doing it.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, this is Can We Talk Sports, and so I'm here with my host,
Arisha, aka Icy.
All right, aka, and I'm still working on that intro, but anyway, so we'll be back on Sunday. Thanks, and share this video. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Bye-bye.